G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a plasma pistol, not to be confused with the plasma pistol. This thing's a little bit of a misnomer here because it is actually called a lightning plasma gun on the weapon mod. They just forgot to add the lightning in on the weapon's title, it's an easy fix, so that's fine. So, yeah, this thing is powered by the plasma cartridges, but it produces bolts of lightning, similar to the Tesla rifle from the Automatron DLC, which this mod does require in order for it to work. So it uses the same animations as a laser gun, but instead of the fusion cell, you just be reloading its plasma cartridge. There's a little bit of customization. Let's get into it. There's not a whole lot here, so we'll get through this nice and quickly. So a standard receiver is what we've got here, or a standard something, so we can't do anything there. You could have a rifle barrel, which will increase your damage and also extend the range of the thing, which is going to make it a particularly effective weapon for a VATS basic setup, because all of that range means basically as soon as you're within VATS distance, then, well, you're gonna hit. Next, we've got the grips. You can have a pistol grip now or a rifle grip, which will change it over to a rifleman thing. Will give you better recoil and aim with scopes, but you lose all of that range thanks to the fact that we're not utilizing the gunslinger perk anymore. So it looks like that might be the superior choice in terms of performance. You can throw a laser sight on the top. It's a little holographic thing that appears when you actually are using this thing, so it's a nice little add-on, but you can't see it now. We'll get to that a little bit later. No muzzle attachment available, and you've also got the legendary effects here if you want, which don't really do much. It's also got the standard Creation Club thing, which it doesn't appear to use any vanilla game textures, so this is completely useless and won't do anything. But you can pretend that it's a Brotherhood of Steel paint thing. I got XP out of that. Isn't that nice? Anyways, so that's our plasma pistol. I'm going to make another one in rifle form just to see what this is all about, but I'll show you how to get them and then we'll shoot stuff. This weapon is injected into the leveled list, so here I am at Arturo's in Diamond City. He's got one here in his vendor. I checked Cleo's and the ghoul next to her in Good Neighbor before. Didn't find one, so I'm glad that Arturo's got one in stock. Thank you very much. Alrighty, so we're back at Immersive Gunners Plaza, and here is our lightning plasma gun in first person, both in pistol and in rifle form, with and without sights. Now, without the sights, you're just aiming down the thing, but it's fine because it fires lightning, and look at those projectiles that are spreading around in the air. So unlike the Tesla rifle, this thing always leaves behind that little crackly ball of energy on the ground, and it appears to shoot lots of extra lightning projectiles in random directions, which mostly appear to be going straight up. And the rate of fire on this thing is actually pretty good, to be honest. So I don't know how this is gonna go, but I feel like this might be an extremely powerful weapon. Also, that little danger thing on the side, that is actually legible. The textures are big enough to actually read that, so why don't I show you that for a second? Why not? And there it is. Danger. Risk of severe electrical shock. Used with authorized training only. Don't worry, we've got that covered. By equipping this high voltage firearm, you acknowledge and accept that any injuries, accidental electrocutions, or collateral damage incurred during the operations are solely the user's responsibility. The manufacturer disclaims all liability for harm to the persons or property resulting from improper handling, overcharging, or unintended discharge. You have been warned. Oh, you love it. That's so good. So presentation-wise, I think this is a pretty good-looking weapon. There's even got a little bit of a sparkly electrode thing at the front of the thing. I believe that is probably lifted exactly from the Tesla power armor, but I think it works pretty well. There is a couple of problems with the presentation of this thing. You might notice that the stock is currently clipping through Ayla's shoulder there, and if you're sort of sitting in an idle stance, it clips. That's an easy fix. All you need to do is either reduce the size of the stock or just push it forward a little bit to make sure that actually sits right on your player's shoulder. Because if you look at most stocks in this game, most of them don't even sit on the player's shoulder, or you just sort of tuck it underneath your arm. Also, there's no trigger on this thing either. It's especially egregious if you go over this side. Perhaps those prongs there, is that like the trigger guard or the triggers there? I mean, this thing's kind of a death trap, but let's begin. Actually, let's not begin because the eyelids are halfway closed. You're looking like Billie Eilish there. Come on. See that? Much better. Anyways, let's begin. We'll utilize our pistol one to start off with because we've got all this range. And I don't expect to be hitting all that much from back here, but we'll give it a shot. Well, that was alright then. Couple of 100 points of damage, and since they're all standing close to each other, that's spreading around fairly nicely there. That's not the smallest amount of damage I've ever seen. We've just disintegrated that person from back there. No, get out of here. Bloody blood bugs, man. You know what? You're getting a crit. Cop that. All right. Back into it now. There we go. So we're getting our sneak criticals. Now we're in danger. They've spotted me. I think the damage might suffer a little bit because of that. All right, so I believe that guy was standing in the lightning there. He was doing like 1 bit of damage to himself. And, okay, so I suppose a good thing about this thing is that as a gunslinger rated weapon, I can disarm everyone that I shoot it at. And since I'm hitting multiple targets at once, well, I can disarm them of their rifles and they really can't do much to me, which is great. Also, in pistol form, it appears to be somewhat efficient on its AP use to the point where I can just crit everything. I especially like the the synchronized screaming of the same sound. That's kind of cute. Anyways, so the criticals might actually do all right here. So if I can get as many of those as possible, that would be pretty helpful. That's another one down. Hello? That's another kill. Not quite ready to crit every other shot, or every single shot, sorry. So if we can find another weak one, that would be pretty good. Not happening. If I time this perfectly right, I'll be able to get a massive gun free streak. Let's go over to rifle, because this one is going to resist some of that damage resistance thanks to that little bit of bypass that the rifleman perk gives you. But as expected, probably not going to be quite as effective in bats. Also considering that I've got no reflex sight on this one to supplement its AP cost. There we go. Thanks, Mysterious Stranger. That's pretty helpful. So, it doesn't appear to be the most powerful weapon in the world, at least when I'm not immediately, I guess. Hang on a second. I disarmed them somehow. Was that intentional? Maybe. I'm not really sure what was going on there. Alright, so I'm sort of bouncing around. I'm not in real trouble here. I got a cheeky little level up before, which was pretty helpful. And hey, you've got one too. Well, there you go. You can find this in shops and on Gunners. I didn't know that because the mod page didn't tell me, so, you know, I sure hope you understand. Okay, I'm gonna let Mysterious Stranger finish that person off. Looks like we found the limitations of this weapon there. Won't bounce, but it looks like I'm leaving those sparkly balls of energy on the ground as they stand. That's a cloaked man. Unfortunately for you, I can just sort of shoot at the ground and that's you finished. I've completely disarmed him. I'm not sure if there's an inbuilt disarm effect going on here or it's just using the gunslinger perks. Alright, Mysterious Stranger's back. This is a perfect little group to spread all of this lightning around. Like, I don't know, what's the quote? Unlimited power. Feel the full power of the dark side of the Force. I've been waiting for this moment a long time, my little green friend. See, they're little because they're on a laptop screen, and they're green because, you know, the military fatigues and gunners and shit like that. Hoping for a couple of Grim Reaper sprint procs here. Because we've got a couple of dudes on the ropes. That's one. Nope, never happening. Alright. I'm gonna run out of bloody... I'm gonna run out of projectiles or bullets by the time I'm finished here. So it looks like the damage that I'm getting out of this is fairly minimal, at least from the extraneous projectiles. If I get direct hits on them, I can do okay, especially if I'm hitting them in the head, but a little bit harder to do when the whole face is engulfed by, let's say, a giant ball of electricity. So you might want to consider just flogging this thing in bats to make sure you get those headshots, just in order to get the absolute most out of the thing. Ow, that's not good. Well, that's Nerd Rage, so let's do it. And I'm pretty sure I've got Destroy Acadia, so... Oh boy, the whole screen's gone weird. There's too much lightning for it to handle. or so for some reason. I'm not utilizing any AP. Nope. And as soon as I said that, the game's like, hang on a second, I noticed that. So, in terms of this weapon's utility, I suppose in crowd control it might be okay, but I think I'm punching above its weight here, despite it, you know, using a pretty high level sort of ammunition source for it to go. I think if I were to use like an automatic Tesla rifle instead, that might be slightly effective. But I haven't used a Tesla rifle in Fallout 4 for bloody ages, to be honest. I'm used to them in Fallout 76 where they're pretty gnarly. But not in 4, unfortunately. I don't think they were that good just because of how damage calculation energy works, but fortunately there's plenty of... Hey, there's another one. Cool. There's plenty of ballistic damage to supplement the small energy damage that I'm getting anyway, so I think that's okay. Anyways, we'll try to get a sneak critical on this person. Well, it was a critical. But in comparison to those direct hits versus the little bit of extra bouncy damage, I was getting very, very little when it comes to actually shooting these guys. Uh-oh. Oh. I meant to do that. I think you get the idea. So I think taking on the Swan is going to be a little bit of a tough ask. We can at least destroy the Suicider by shooting him on the nuke, but when it comes to one large target, like 44 damage, we're tickling him at this point. So why don't we just go away and maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll get some backup. Just run. You can outrun him. He's bigger than you, but he's like constrained by Bethesda pathing, so therefore I can escape. That works. Okay, this time we're taking on Swan with backup. We're going to have lightning covering the entire screen, so kill it. Kill it fast. And there's some hitting for quite big bits of damage, but yeah, hopefully they don't decide that it's a good idea to run directly underneath it, because they're going to get squashed by it. Although we've got a couple of people reviving, so maybe it'll be fine. We have to just sit back and all gang bash this. Oh, he's targeting the Airbot. That's good news. Now, are you gonna do anything, or are you just gonna stand there? I don't know. I think we'll be fine. So, I think most of the lightning is coming from Lily's turrets that she's just throwing around. They're doing a pretty good job, but I kind of expect everyone to be shooting at this thing a little bit faster, but I suppose that with this, like everything, it's all semi-auto, so we're not firing as fast as they could possibly go. They don't usually smash the trigger down as fast as possible, but with all this combined fire, the job's done. We got it done somehow, so isn't that good? And did you get squashed there? I think, no, you're fine. Alright, well, that kind of worked. Let's move on to something a little bit more dangerous. And for our last fight, we'll forge into the glowing sea once more to kill both a giant ghoul and a giant blood bug. So whilst they're all in tow, I'll quickly make it to this area, and then we'll get a nice little alpha strike going on. So we'll target his head 5 or so times, and then we'll utilize VATS criticals to get as much damage as possible. With normal criticals, we're in a pretty good shape to kill a lot of them. And, oh, he's just revived everyone. That's fine, I think. Now, the trick is not to get punched in the face by him, so absolutely nobody at all go and stand next to him. I don't care if there's giant rad scorpions stabbing you in the back. Never mind, that's fine. May as well take them out if we're going to get distracted. But now, we're running in far too close there, and we're getting killed. But look at all that lightning happening on the screen. That's what you want. Okay, now he's targeting the bot. That's not going to work out well for him.
Liberated the Commonwealth, but our job is far from over.
Alright, everyone looks like they've recovered it, at least. Everyone's health is regenerating. I've got far too much followers for this companion display to work, but looks like it defaults to just using 3.
Put those freaks out of their misery.
Got a cheap hit. And unfortunately, I won't be able to get a nice alpha strike on this one. I'll get one critical and then that's kind of it. Well, might be a little bit of strife here because this guy is a lot tougher and our weapons so far haven't been entirely powerful. And he's coming after me. Help, help, maybe. Hang on, I'll just sit here and get some of these health points back by sitting in the pool. Because one by one, this bastard will just pick us off because he can basically one-shot past mutation, which I believe, looking at his health bar, he has definitely achieved. So everyone just shoot him. Or is he going after he's going after Lily's robot. That's great. But sooner or later, he's going to pick a different target and immediately get them killed, or not. He's a good tanker of damage. Lily's kind of broken because Quasar doesn't take any damage. What I should do is I'll give it just the essential tag so it gets staggered. But then, like, I don't know. It's hard to balance them. Unlike Fallout New Vegas where your robot falls unconscious like Eddie did back in Lonesome Road. Like, Quasar would just spin around in a circle if they're essential and then just go back to life normal. Plus these turrets, I think, help. Like, I think Lily by far is my most broken follower. So the next one I make will be a little bit more balanced, I think. That's Nina. It's coming out soon, just as soon as I get a voice actor to do it. But I think you get the idea. So that there was the plasma lightning plasma rifle. And I think it's a pretty good weapon. There's a lot of room to grow here. Obviously, with the model, this thing could be improved just by, you know, adjusting that stock a little bit. And poor Mantis. And adding a trigger or something there might be a pretty good. But I think overall, proportionally, I think it's a really good looking weapon. And artistically, very good looking as well. And the animations work with this model fairly seamlessly as well. So perhaps one way you could upgrade this to make it a little bit better for late game bullet sponge very hard difficulty is adding some sort of system where I could improve its receiver, where I could tune it to do different things, where I could tune it to have more like child projectiles, for example, or an overcharged capacitor for extra damage, or maybe even critical capacitors to allow for better VATS gameplay, because this thing was pretty strong in VATS. So if you wanted to capitalize on that, then that'd be a pretty cool idea. Pretty cool idea. No pun intended. But it'll be a pretty neat idea to just run this and have it just be able to give it different roles and extend its versatility out. But it's pretty good. But maybe there's room to grow here. There's improvement that can easily be made here. And hopefully at some point we'll see that. But anyways, if you want to see this thing in your game, check out the link in the description. If there's an Xbox port, I'll be sure to find that as well, but no guarantees on this one. Thank you very much for watching, guys.